Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast, as part of a Bostix Inference. This audio podcast is part of a Bostix Systematic. This audio podcast is part of a Stormonostic and as part of a Stormonostics Analytical. This audio podcast is part of the Bookish. This audio podcast as part of a Storm and Bostix production. In this through this audio podcast today, looking at the research gap and approach, and the research question, strength and limitations of a publication by Mohammed and Zelhus in around 2024. In around 2025, a publication that formed part of a Springer chapter publication or contribution to a Springer pathology book series. The publication is in around decolonizing chemokine receptor expression in acute allograft rejection (AAR), and as part of an overview, and as part of the research gap or approach. The chapter contribution looks at decolonizing and diversifying retrospective human renal transplant immunobiology education through laboratory medicine and the use of social media. As part of the research question, the book chapter looks to provide a retrospective overview of chemokine and chemokine receptor expression in acute allograft rejection in context of human renal transplantation and transplant immunobiology. Additionally, the aims and objectives look at highlighting how social media organizations or platforms, the RPSG and KDARs look to encourage healthcare inclusivity to bridge healthcare disparities and decolonize essential topics in human transplant immunobiology and across laboratory practices to enhance patient and public involvement, or PPI. In addition to what is referred to as what has been referred to as POCE, as POCE, or point of care education concept. This work falls within the remit of a scientist's perspective on laboratory medicine and integrated transplant immunobiology services for CKD recipients. And as part of the strength of this chapter contribution, the publication looks to highlight in around T cell activation, allo recognition, allo responses in human renal transplantation, the importance of interleukins and co-stimulation in human renal transplantation, human renal transplantation and healthcare practices, debunking challenges and mentoring healthcare service users and healthcare providers, and decolonizing and diversifying through social media. The chapter contribution looks at perspectives from the RPSG and KDARS platforms, informing of some of the challenges surrounding transplant immunobiology practice. And as part of the limitations, the publication or chapter contribution informs of only transplant immunobiology surrounding kidney care services or kidney care healthcare services. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast is part of a Bostix Inference. This audio podcast is part of a Bostix Systematic. This audio podcast is part of a Stormonostics Analytical. This audio podcast is part of the Bookish. This audio podcast is part of a Storm and Bostix production.